mentioned, Al, Phillies had lost 6 in a row until they won yesterday.
Yep.
Dodgers have been a 500-ish, if not slightly below 500 team for the better part of 2 months. These are the two best teams in the National League. If you just said at their best, these are the two best teams. And I'm excited to see the series. I'm excited to see all the star power that's on the Philadelphia Phillies. But the Dodger team that they're going to run, maybe Freddie's back tonight. We can talk about that a little bit coming up. But this is not this is 2 months to go, a couple of heavyweights kind of feeling each other out. This is not what this is.
It's not. I mean, both of these teams are – it's a 162-game season. So I think there are times where we want to just see teams – if we think that they're going to just dominate for 6 months, that's just not what happens.
No.
And I think Phillies and the Dodgers, I will say this. If you're a Dodger fan, you're sitting here and it's August 5th. Believe it or not, I'm not too concerned with the Dodgers, and they still got enough time here to get a lot of their guys back. But just think about this for a quick second. If you went to the standings right now and you look to see, all right, where's everybody? And let's just American League, National League. The Dodgers right now are a game and a half behind the Philadelphia Phillies for the best record in the NL. If you just kind of take a quick second and think about the Dodgers season. Think about Muncy. Think about Mookie Betts. Think about Kershaw just getting his first couple of starts. Buehler being a complete non-factor. Bobby Miller a non-factor. Yamamoto's been out for this long. If I told you go look at the lineups that they've had over these last 2 weeks or so. Just go look at who's actually playing day-to-day for the Dodgers and some of the guys that are coming up and pitching for them. They're a game and a half out of the best record in the NL. If I'm a Dodger fan, I really actually would, and I understand a lot of things got to work their way as well, and they just got to get bodies back. Would you feel optimistic that at least they've gone through 2 months where they've been very average, very mediocre, where I could look at other teams who are playing their best baseball right now? Which one would you rather be? Don't you want to be playing your best baseball and be the healthiest you are as you're getting a little bit closer to October? I don't think the Dodgers are in an awful spot. I think Philadelphia, the interesting thing with Philly is, they got a lot of their main guys right now. They're just kind of going through a bad stretch. Okay, bad stretches are going to happen. It's not the end of the world. But that NL, if you look at Philly and look at the Dodgers and look at the Braves and look at the Padres, Diamondbacks, it's actually really wide open. And the Dodgers' excuse that they can have is, once we just get our team back, and on top of the additions that they made at the trade deadline, I think they're in a pretty favorable position.
It's a new path for them. And what I mean is, we've seen them smash everybody and go into the playoffs as heavy, heavy favorites because, to your point, Al, maybe it wasn't 6 months of smooth sailing, but it was 5, right? And the 1 month that really wasn't was okay. This is the first time we've seen them go through where there's been some highs, but there's been some real lows in this season. We've seen them have a tight division race with the Giants a few years ago where it went down to the last weekend of the season, and they were playing really well. They won 105 games, but it was neck and neck the whole time. So they had to hit the gas all the way down the stretch. We've seen that. That didn't really work out the way that they wanted it to. This is, and I really don't think 1 + 1 = 2 in any of this. I don't think if you do this, lay in the weeds until the middle of August and hope to get healthy and hit the gas. Sure. There is no secret sauce to any of this, but at least this is different because I think, to your point, and I kind of tried to get at this with Oral when we talked to him on Friday, which was, if the season is ebbs and flows and you're in highs and lows during the season, you want to be as close to that high point as you can be, or right as approaching the apex of that as the playoffs start. They're clearly nowhere near it. And even bad teams, other than the White Sox, have ebbs and flows. If they're in an ebb right now, it's got to start to flow sooner than later.
And it will. They have.
I think so too.
Talent is there. It's just
Mookie will come back. Mm-hmm. He's going to play again. Yamamoto, I think, is very, very likely to pitch again. Whether his effectiveness, I don't know, but that flow will come back at some point. I guess it's just how much of it you have. The Freddie thing, I think, is fascinating because Freddie Freeman plays 160 plus games a year and really has his entire career. He just doesn't miss time. He's remarkably durable. This is a different situation because it's the health of his son who was infected with Guillain-Barré. He missed some times in the hospital. He finally went home from the hospital. That's all really good news. Everybody's happy to hear that. But this isn't just that Freddie Freeman's better than Kevin Biggio. Freddie Freeman's a Hall of Famer who plays every single day. And because he's so steady and because the fluctuations in what he does are very, very small, it's only when you have him, what has he missed, a couple weeks or close to it, that you really start to appreciate what he brings to that team. We know he hits 300. You know he's going to hit 20-some odd home runs. You know he's going to have 40-some odd doubles, drive in 80 to 100 runs. Like, you know it, but all of a sudden it's not there. It's a huge difference.
I think, think about before the season started. Think about the way we looked at the Dodgers, and it was, oh, my gosh, you're adding this player and Shohei, and you already got Freddie, and you already got Mookie, and you already got this, you already got that. And I think we looked at the offseason as this was just going to be smooth sailing for the Dodgers. And frankly, why wouldn't you think it's going to be smooth sailing for the Dodgers? It's been anything but that. And there have been some ups and there has been some downs. And the Freddie Freeman is a good example of now you could maybe appreciate Freddie even a little bit more, even though we all appreciated him as much as we did. I think the season that they're having, this will benefit them in the long run. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they get into the playoffs and nothing really changes.
I think if you're trying to be optimistic, yeah.
But it's been so rocky, and they're still where they need to be. It's been so rocky, and that's with a ton of players that are so important have been out. Eventually, I think these guys are going to come back. And if you look at Philly, so Philly beat Seattle yesterday. All their guys are there.
Yeah.
Everybody's there. They just went through a tough stretch. Dodgers, you haven't been able to say that for 2 months. You haven't been able to say that. I mean, if they had everybody, let's just say the Dodgers didn't deal with injuries, guys were there, and basically they were on pace to win 110 games. Does that matter? No. How much would that matter?
No, not literally. The only situation where them just cruising would matter, and it would matter this much, not a lot, is if somehow they were chasing a record for wins. That's the only scenario where a nightly result would matter a great deal.
Here's where I don't even think that matters, is because right now the Dodgers are not a team. Remember the year that the Warriors won 73 games? Mm-hmm. They had banked a couple championships, and it was like, well, what else did we do? Might as well try to break the all-time record. Yeah. Even for the Dodgers, I would, if they were in a situation where they're chasing the all-time wins or something along those lines, it's like, that's not important. What's important is that you guys are ready for the postseason, and I think they'll eventually. And you're right. Maybe this is somebody that's looking at it half glass full, but I think there's been a lot of conversation about the Dodgers. I do feel like has been negative. I only think there's been so many things that they can control. Those players are still those players, and they're going to eventually come back.
So here's what the Dodgers are dealing with right now. Like, this is just the facts of the matter. Gavin Luck's been hitting third for them. I know he's been hot. I know.
He's got the fourth highest batting average since the All-Star break.
Yeah, cool. I've seen him play for 4 years. I know what sort of player he is. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I know he's hot. Guys get hot occasionally, right? Austin Barnes had an 11-game hitting streak, hit a couple of them. Like, it happens. He's really hot. Good for him. They need him to be hot right now because really no one else really is. They need
Who else do you depend on there?
If I would have told you at the end of spring training or in May, hey, by the way, you're going to get into the middle, and you're in a race. It's not a super tight race, but you're in a race. It's 4.5 game lead, and Gavin Lux is your third hitter. You'd have been like, what? And
I saw that a week ago, and I was like, what?
And that's what he's been doing. I agree with you. They're going to get guys back, but what we're talking about, guys coming back, they're all offensive players for the most part, other than Yamamoto, which is a big part of it. But when we talk about guys coming back, it's, well, Mookie's coming back. Absolutely. It's going to make a huge difference. Max Muncy is likely going to show up at some point. Great news. He's a 30-plus home run guy. He's an important player. Freddie comes back after a family emergency. That's really good news.
And by the way, confirmed he will return today.
Great. That's fantastic. And I hope he has a 4-hit night and tears the cover off the ball. That'd be wonderful. Did you watch Evan Phillips pitch the last couple weeks? Blake Trinan, Alex Vezina, Hudson. I mean, Banda got his first save last night. That bullpen, by the way, there is no... Brusdar Graterol hasn't pitched all year, so could he come back? Sure. Joe Kelly's really never found his groove really all year. Ryan Brazier is another one of those guys that can eat some innings along the way, but is he your lockdown ninth inning guy? No, not really. Like, the the bullpen that you have is the bullpen that you have, with one or two, moderate exceptions, maybe Gratterall being the one that might make a little bit more impact. How does that get fixed? Yamamoto fixes the rotation to a degree. Glasnow, Yamamoto, Flaherty, okay, we got a fighting chance. These guys aren't going to pitch 8 innings every game. And even if they did, who pitches the 9th? And who pitches the 8th? Who pitches the 7th? That bullpen has been bad for a month.
And taxed.
And way overtaxed.
Yeah.
And you don't bounce back. Like you could say, Dave Roberts starting tonight, hey, look, we're going to be really judicious about how we use these guys. Somebody's got to pitch.
Sure.
And you got 2 months to go, and you don't bounce back in the middle of the season typically. It's usually an off season that kind of lets you get refreshed again. 1-run game, okay? 1-run game.
I don't think
Dodgers have a 1-run lead.
Yeah, I don't think there's a comfortable
Who
answer.
pitches the 9th inning?
I'd have told you Trinan 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, probably.
And he gave up.
Dude, he went from throwing 97, 98 to throwing 92, 93, and the ball does not have that bite, that snap that it had before.
Yeah.
Vezina competes like crazy. I've actually come to kind of like him because I think he competes. Dude, Evan Phillips, they're pitching him in the 5th inning.
Yeah.
He was your 9th inning guy for a couple of seasons.
And he was give him the ball.
Yeah.
You're good.
Daniel Hudson has been pretty good, but he's an older guy who's had some injury stuff. Like, there's not one guy that when that bullpen door swings open, you're like, let's go. Last year, that wasn't the case. Those guys were, Phillips, really good.
Sure.
Trinan, when healthy early in the year, really good. This is a bit of a grab bag and not a good one. I mean, who pitches the 9th inning in a 1-run game in a playoff game right now?
I don't
is
think
it?
they know.
Is that not a massive problem? Who pitches
they can't solve. Because they
that's
can't
what
get
I
new
mean.
players
Well, they
in.
could have solved.
Yes.
I mean, they could have addressed it at the deadline.
With who?
Padres went out and got a closer. They already had a closer.
They did, and they got good.
And they got other bullpen guys.
Ray's a guy, but they're not locked down. They're good. Put it to you this way. If you said to me you want the Padre bullpen or the Dodger bullpen today, I'll take the Padre bullpen. I think that it's healthier, it's deeper, it's all those things. But it's not like there was Dennis Eckersley out there ready to move. There was no Mariano Rivera. These were moderate moves, and they didn't do anything. And there is no answer to that. You got to hope that Blake Trinan finds it again, that Evan Phillips finds it again. And that's a big, big question.